What's happening? Of course, you know it's your boy B-High Radio Shout. And as always, I got my podcast partner off in this thing, OG Gangsta Wicked, a.k.a. Big Galaxy of Ghetto Mafia.
You already know what I'm finna get ready to say.
You about to start some stuff, man.
Well, I mean, last week you bragged on how if Jamal Lewis
That's right.
came around that corner.
See, you want me to get a broke shoulder in here.
And it was you and him. Just you and nobody else. You said they can turn the light side and just you and him.
I ain't got the experience. The Sose already told me about how that's gonna go. Okay, Sose almost died. Trying to tackle this man. Hey, we
Yes,
in
sir.
the building right now, man. We got arguably one of the greatest running backs that ever played a damn game.
And from Georgia.
Oh, you ain't even let me get to the Georgia part.
Oh, okay.
I mean, the greatest to come out of Georgia. That's how I feel personally. You see what I'm saying? He goes by the name of Jamal Lewis. What's good with it, boss?
Man, what's up? What's happening?
Man,
What's
feeling
happening?
good, feeling great. I mean, first of all, Jamal, appreciate the time, man.
Yes,
You
sir.
know,
No problem.
I mean, we want to tell the story in an inspirational tone for these other young guys coming up in the A, man. I mean, what you did was remarkable, and not many people are ever able to do this. Yeah. So I need you to take me to day one, Jamal. I got to go back to Little League with it. Did you know when you was 8, 9, and 10 years old that it was over for all these other guys out here?
Well, no, not really, man. My brother, played anyway. My brother John Lewis, he played at Doug, came through Collier Park and all that. But then I can remember my dad dropping me off at Adamsville gym when I was about 9, 10 or something like that. Yeah, about 10. And it was just really on from there. Like, it became one of them things where it wasn't, my dad didn't have to drop me off at the park. I was walking to the park.
Come on.
And, walking with your uniform and all your stuff so you can get to practice on time.
Yeah.
And all this stuff or whatever. But, it was always a lot of talent, in the city. You had to compete with a lot of cats, that I even split time with, coming up or whatever, but going through the ranks, and I was always younger.
Yeah.
So, and I was always bigger. So I was the young kid playing on the older team, right?
Okay.
So I kind of had to advance very fast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but playing against a lot of the talent, man, that came from the inner city.
Come on, man.
It was just really like you had to man up. You know what I mean? It was like you either gonna get it or you gonna get got.
Come on now.
So, but I was going through Adamsville, and then I ended up going to Usher Middle School.
Yeah.
And, went through that, and I didn't even play running back. You know what I mean? I played tight end and linebacker at Usher Middle School. But Coach Rambo, I think he had it out for me. But anyway, but we had a lot of talent, though. You know what I'm saying? We had a lot of talent. So you had to compete, So I think that with that kind of helped me, progress over time to the point where, I knew how to compete. I was always playing with kids that was better or as good as I was. Yeah. So therefore that level of competition and that work ethic, really just helped take me pretty much over the hump. And it just, progressed going through high school. Yeah. And the same thing, had a good coach in high school. We had a good team, at Doug. So it was like, like I said, we always had these older guys. Yeah. And, teams and coaches that kind of influenced me and kind of pushed me in the right direction. So it was like, everything was there. Yeah. But at the same time, I just had to pretty much just go get it, put in the work ethic. And, being in the inner city, it's even harder anyway.
Come on now.
So it's like you got to keep, keep that, keep your head right as far as staying in your books and making sure you got that part of it. And that's one thing that I did have too was I had the grades, what I mean? So that's why I was able to, sign with a University of Tennessee or go to any college I wanted to go to. But I think that all the people that was around me, from my brother, my mom, my dad, coaches, other players that I played with along the way, really helped, cook this thing up and put all the ingredients into what I was able to do.
When he talks about that inner city, he's talking about that west side, sir, okay? Just in case you didn't know. It gets a little real over there sometimes.
I got him a gift for later on, and I'm going to give him. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So you remember that you just said that.
Okay, yeah, I will remember that.
It's sitting there on the couch right now.
Okay. But see, when we talk about that West Side, I went to Kyle Heights too, okay? Your class was a few classes before me, but I can remember the lights of a Barlow, a Thunder and Lightning coming out of that backfield over there, okay? Yeah. Before you got there, I had a cousin named Jermaine Keller that quarterbacked in that thing as well. So, talk to me about Doug High. That West Side, the Mays High, Doug High rivalry games. How intense was that back then? And what did that mean to you hitting that field raising hell, Ma?
Man, you got my brother played too. Yeah. So I was, my brother came out in 91. I was in the 6th grade at the time. Yeah. So you think about that from 88, 90, those years. I was in the stands, during the Southwest Cab games, the Mays High games, just those inner city rivalries and everything else. So I knew about all of that, So, I actually lived in Harper District. Yeah. But at the same time, my dad was like, "You ain't going to Harper." Exactly. So I ended up going to Doug. Yeah. And they had a new coach. Coach Sims came in. They had a new coach coming in that year. Yeah. But we always had, players. You had Overstreet at the time. Who else you had, man? We had a bunch of players that was older, that basically kind of led the way, whatever. But then when I came in, Barlow, Darian Hutchinson, Tony Morrow, Robert Cromartie, a lot of us started coming in over a 2-year period, 9th grade, 10th grade. Yeah. It just really made us a powerhouse, you know what I mean, really. So we had talent across the board. So competition-wise, Mays, that was always a rivalry, but Mays couldn't run with us. Mays couldn't run with us.
I can't believe you sat up here and asked this man about Mays. That's what I be talking about.
Doug that graduated with me at Southwest Middle School and Kyle Heights and stuff, they would have went to Mays, but they wound up going to Doug.
Go to Doug,
Little Mario Batman, they went over there to Doug. They should have been at Mays with me.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Come on, man. Quit, what's happening?
Man here talking about Mays High School in front of a legend.
But our thing was mainly because Mays, we knew what Mays was. Yeah. Washington, some of those rivalry, rival schools, whatever. Those were your homeboys. Exactly. That you came up with, that you played against, right? But then our whole thing was the DeKalb County school system. If we could attack that and win some of those games, then that would put us in the playoffs. That will make us, a better, higher ranked team or whatever, just because you needed to sweep the Columbia, the Southwest Cab, the McNairs at the time. Yeah. They were pretty good. But they cause we was in the city. Exactly. They thought we was some scrubs. You know what I'm saying? But that wasn't the case. You know what I mean? So we had to, that's what really helped separate us and make us the team that we really were, especially 94 through 97 when I was there. Yeah. Like being able to go and compete, outside the city. Yeah. That's what kind of made us strong.
Were you heavily recruited coming out of high school?
Oh, yeah.
And what was that whole experience like, man? Being from the West Side, then you looking up in all these colleges saying, "Hey, man, we want you here."
Yeah, right. So my 9th grade year, I think I played JV or whatever. But I was getting letters, I was getting letters, and letters don't mean shit, really. Yeah. But I was getting letters, from colleges. I'm like, damn, I get them letters. I was getting bags of letters. Yeah. So then, you start getting offers, where schools are like, shit, you can come here and go to college, whatever, for free. Yeah. So that will spark my interest. Like, I can go to college for free. Yeah. From running this football. So I'm like, but the only thing I got to do is keep my grades right. Yeah. And ride that. And I can just ride this thing through. And I can at least go get an education. No matter whether I'm good or not at football, I can go get an education. And I just took advantage of that. You know what I mean? That was, everybody had a hustle, and that was my hustle.
The NFL went on your mind at that time, or you were just... Are you serious?
I never really watched NFL. I never really watched football like that. But at the same time, like, I love to play running back. I love to play the position. So it was kind of like it was a art to me more than anything else that I wanted to perfect and be the best at it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I worked, and that's kind of how I trained, and I wanted to be the best in the country. And, you know, at the same time, you know, like I said, we're competing with inner city guys like the Barlows. Me and him shared the backfield for years. You know what I'm saying?
Crazy.
And I had to compete with him, and he drove me to be better. But, you know, you think about that, but there's guys outside of the city just in Georgia alone. There's guys outside of Georgia that's in the Southeast, and there's guys outside the Southeast that's national that you're competing with. You know what I mean? So to be able to excel and just perform at a high level and put that work in, knowing that, you know, you're just not competing with your buddies or the guys that you play park ball against. You competing with a whole other playing field that, you know, the world is a lot bigger than you think. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
What was it that made you choose Tennessee?
So when I went to so I was actually high on Nebraska, and I had Nebraska, Michigan, LSU, Tennessee was my fourth choice, and then Texas. But I wasn't even gonna go to Tennessee to visit. But my coach was like, you know, you should just drive up there and just check it out. You know, they'll pay for your gas and whatever. So I'm like, all right, well, cool, we'll run up there. So me and my parents, we went up there, and Peyton actually was there, and it was talks about him staying for his fifth year, senior year, or whatever. So, but when I got up there, man, the campus was nice. You know, everything was nice. Everything. And then I remember being at a dinner that night, and my dad asked Peyton, you know, was he going to stay? And he was like, you know, don't say anything, but I'm announcing tomorrow, but yeah, I'm staying. And then my dad looked at me and was like, you coming here. You know what I'm saying? But it was more of a business decision because he was going to throw the ball, and teams were going to come in to basically guard against that, you know, whatever. So really I could just, if I got a chance to play, which they was going to give me a chance, then I can lay under the radar and I can just rack it up. Because it's going to be 6 men, 7 in the box. And you talking about the best quarterback in college football, so he was a good decoy for me. You know what I mean? To get my feet wet and do what I needed to do as a freshman. And I ended up starting that year or whatever, like the fourth game of the season, and picked up from there, man. It was fun.
Playing with a young Peyton, though, did you think that he was going to go off to be one of the greatest of all time at that young age as well?
Oh, yeah. He was just an architect, man, and just a perfectionist at the game, you know. I tell the story, you know, when I first got there, he came to my room, and he was just like, you know, he had like 4 or 5 sheets of paper, and he said, look, you know, you want to play this year? And I said, yeah, I want to play. And he was like, well, here go all the protections that he said, because if you're going to play, you got to be able to protect me. And he wrote down the protections, gave them to me. He had them all written down. I wish I still had it. He had them all written down in pencil. And he said, learn these. And he said, I promise you by the fourth game of the season, you'll be starting. And lo and behold, fourth game of the season, I was starting. And but he was one of those guys that, man, like in practice, you know, I remember Coach Cutcliffe, who was the offense coordinator at the time, you know, he came to me and he told me, he was like, you know, you can't play for me. And I'm like, why? And he's like, because you're not a practice player, you know, and he's like, you're a gamer. And I'm like, yeah, I'm a gamer. Shit, you know. Right. But at the same time, he was like, tomorrow, come out here and watch number 16. He said, watch number 16 practice. And I watched him, and he was just like, every single play was full speed on 100 and like to perfection. And after that, you know, I just kind of modeled my practice and my game after that, where it was like, no matter what, you know, like in practice, I was gonna be 100%, you know, full throttle. And it really helped my game, and I kept that, you know, mentality, you know, all the way through, which helped me along the way with being able to hold down the starting position, you know what I mean, for a long time.
I want to ask you, and then we're going to go back to, cause I want to ask you about the championship in '98. But while I got you right here, we're talking about Tennessee. What was the hardest jump jumping from high school to college football or from college football to pros physically?
Physically, it was probably the what was the hardest?
Yes. What's the shock when you say you're a 12th grade senior in high school, now you're in college with guys
so college it was like just the physicality of like Al Wilson, Torrey Noel, Leonard Little. Like you had some all-stars, all-Americans across the ball, and you know, I'm coming in fresh out of Doug High.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and these dudes all Americans, you know what I'm saying? So they flying around.
Yeah.
Right.
Luckily I didn't know who they were and I didn't really follow, so it was like I didn't care. Like I'm just out here
They gonna get this work too.
But they were like coming. You know what I'm saying? They were coming, but that was, I think, the physicality part, just because I needed to develop. You know, my body needed to develop. I was 225 pounds.
Yeah.
But still, you know what I mean? These dudes been through the system. They doing power cleans and all this type of stuff. Like, we ain't had no big weight room.
Yeah.
You know, so, but from the college to the pros, it was more the speed. It was the speed. I just remember, you know, getting my first handoff in practice for, you know, the Ravens. It was like, I was running and just fail. You know what I mean? Just because I ran to the back of the line and fell. And then Priest Holmes was like, you know, watch. You know what I'm saying? And he just went, just flowed straight through. He's like, just go. He said, trust it. He said, it's going to be there.
Yeah.
He said, it's going to be there. It ain't gonna be there for long, but it's gonna be there.
Yeah.
So he's like, so hit it, you know, and I was like, okay. So then next thing you know, I just you gotta run at the same speed, everybody moving at the same speed.
Yeah.
And you know, and you gotta be patient, but you gotta hit it, you know, and don't hesitate.
Right.
And that was the biggest thing about from college to the pros was
The speed.
the speed is everybody's fast.
Exactly.
Like you see it on the games and you be looking and you be like, man, get outside.
Right.
Just get outside.
Right.
Like, nah, man, these dudes got angles. You know what I mean? And they close gap real fast.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, you know, that's just one of them things. But yeah, physicality and then speed.
Gotcha.
Were you homesick up there in Tennessee?
Nah, not really. I think my first week or two I might have been.
Yeah.
But I wasn't far, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wasn't far. And then I had a couple of homeboys that would hit the road, you know, and come up there and experience. Yeah. You know, and get out of Atlanta. You know, so
Exactly.
you know, we would have a good time. But you know, there's a lot of Georgia boys up there too now.
Yeah.
You know, Deion Grant, Cozy Coleman. Like these cats, you know, they was up there, and we had Fred White, but it was a few guys that was from the A, you know, that was up there because Tennessee had to recruit, you know, out of Georgia.
Right.
Exactly.
You know, so it was a lot of us down there, but no, it was an adjustment, but at the same time, man, it was like, you know, it was one of them things where got you out your comfort zone.
Yeah.
You know, got you out of Bankhead and out of the hood. You know what I'm saying? And so you could go and, you know, experience something, man. And it was a great experience, and you know, I'm happy I got a chance to do it.
Exactly. I mean, it comes NFL time, it's draft time. How are you feeling going towards getting ready to fulfill the destiny? Because, like you said, you wasn't really even thinking about that early on. Did it hit you while you were in college that this NFL thing is tangible and I might be able to get up through there?
Yeah. So I can remember my freshman year. You know, my agent, not my agent, but you know, other folks and agents be hitting you up. You know, like, hey, you know, you possibly could, you know, go to the league and this and the other. You could be a high draft pick, blah blah blah. So, but you got to put the work in, right? Yeah. You know, it don't matter unless you put the work in. But then I came back my next year, got hurt, and then came back off that, you know, whatever, going through 99. Yeah. And then draft time come, and it was like, you know, I just knew I just needed to go and run fast. Yeah. Jump high. Yeah. And just really, you know, just do my thing and be who I was, and went through training, you know, for 3 months, and went to my pro day, and I ran a 4.38. You know what I mean? I had a 40 and a half inch vertical. Yeah. And by that time, my stock had went up So it was like, but it was a lot of running backs, you know what I mean, in that draft.
Yeah.
You know, so Ron Dane, Sean Alexander, Thomas Jones, myself, and then there was one more, Redmond. I think J.R. Redmond, one of them. Yeah. But it was a lot of running backs, you know. So whether I went first back or fifth, still a lot of, you know, everybody went in the top 2 rounds. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it was one of them. It's really changed, right? Yeah. You don't even see a running back go into the second round now.
Come on.
But it was just one of them things where I just knew I just needed to go put the work in, and I needed to just control what I can control, and because I didn't know where I would go in the draft. I only played 25 games in college, you know what I mean, and I got injured, you know, whatever. So it's kind of like, you know, and really I left because I was like, there's nothing else I can do here. Yeah, and you know, it was just put a lot of politics, you know, whatever. So when you're dealing with that, it's like it's not fun anymore. And, you know, now it's a business. Yeah. And I might as well go get paid. You know what I mean? If I'm right. Some business, right?
What was going through your mind, though, when you get injured and then you got politics going on at the same time, man? Was that stressful as hell, or was it just a young man trying to figure it out?
Man, it was a lot of calling home to my mama.
Yeah.
Like, calm me down so I don't go off.
Exactly.
So that was really, it was a stressful time, but it built me, you know what I mean, to be able to deal with adversity and deal with, you know, other people's stuff, you know what I mean? And hey, look, you know, it ain't gonna always go your way, but at the same time, control what you can control, and everything will work itself out, right? But that was stressful, but at the end of the day, I was just like, you know, I'm gone, I'm leaving. Yeah. And I'm gonna go to the draft. Yeah. And, you know, and that was it. And I just committed myself, you know, to training and trying to be the best running back I could be, and the best interviewee I could be, and trying to, you know, put the lipstick on, you know what I mean, and make myself look good. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. For 32 teams, whatever, 30 at the time. But anyway, the Ravens, you know, one of the coaches from the Ravens, you know, I could kind of tell he was a little high on me. Yeah. And he was the running back coach too. And they had 2 picks in the first round that year. So it was kind of like, I don't know. But, you know, they try to play it where they don't tell you anything or they don't hint anything. So, because they don't want to tip anybody. Yeah. You know, and then somebody else take you. But they had that 5th pick in the draft, man. And shoot, they ended up taking me, you know, with that pick, and it was like, you know, shit, now I got to go to work.
Okay, Mal, you number 5 in this draft, coming out of the west side of Atlanta.
Right.
How did that feel? How did the city react to all of that? And what was going through your mind when you knew it was time to go to work?
Man, it was crazy, you know, just because, you know, being from Atlanta. Yeah. You know, I think we really proved something too.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, because a lot of cats didn't make it out, you know, whatever, and I was able to kind of do that, and it's a fine line, you know what I mean, that you got to walk in order to attain that and get there, you know what I mean, and it was, you know, it was cool, man. It was just really, really good for the city, and you know, I had a lot of guys come up to me after that and was like, man, I should have stayed with football. Or, you know what, man, if I didn't get hurt. No, this shit harder than that, man. There's a whole lot of other stuff.
Exactly. But break down that, too, outside of the game, the other stuff that goes into being great. Because, I mean, a lot of folks think it's just as simple as picking up the ball and running fast as you can.
Yeah, no, it's, you know, like, honestly, man, it was more of, you know, you got to be a professional. Yeah. And you got to always be trying to elevate and you know, add some things to your game. Yeah. You know what I mean? And always going in and working on your weaknesses and trying to, you know, it's short. You know what I mean? It's one of them things too. It's short. You know, football is short. Yeah. You know, entertainment is short. You know what I mean? Sports entertainment is short. So, you know, you got to take it, you know, as it comes and really be able to maximize every opportunity, you know, that you can get. And anytime I touch the field, it's like, this is an opportunity. So, you know, like the off seasons, I didn't really travel a lot. I trained, you know what I mean? And because I knew it would be over, you know, one day. And, and you can do all that stuff when you're done. But at the same time, it's just being at a high level, and performing at a high level all the time, and you always got to be on, and that's on the field. Off the field, you got to be on too. Yeah. Just because you got somebody trying to take you, somebody trying to break you, somebody trying to get you. So, you know what I mean? Like, you just always got to have your head on the swivel and just and just know, and I was 20 years old going into the NFL. You know what I mean? So I was young, with millions of dollars. So it's like, you're always. You always got to keep your antennas up.
When that money came in that old mall, what was going through your mind at that time? I mean, lifestyle changing and stuff like that. Family, how was family reacting to it when they're like, okay now, okay now? You see what I'm saying?
My family was pretty cool. Honestly. I didn't really have. Any issues. My dad, was pretty good. He had his own business when I was coming up. My mom, she worked for corrections or whatever, so she still had her job, or whatever, but she retired after my rookie year. So, real fast. She retired after my rookie year. But it was just, man, it comes fast, and you got a lot of people that's after you, and you can't go, and I learned a valuable lesson. You can't, kind of go and do some of the same things that you used to do, or associate yourself with some of the same people that you used to, or whatever, and it's, but it's a lesson learned, and I was one of those guys too. Like, man, why Jamal Anderson? I don't see him coming through the hood. You know what I mean? Like, I'm over here on Bankhead, and the only person I see is the
folks you grew up with,
the dope boy, riding in the nice stuff. You know what I mean, and doing that. So a lot of times in the hood, that's who you looked up to. Whatever, and you can kind of dig yourself into a hole. So I learned about that, very very quickly, and it was like I said, it was a life learning experience, and something I think I needed to go through, or whatever. But at the same time, the government is a bitch.
Come on now.
Sometimes, Jamal, and I understand exactly what you're saying. Sometimes, as in football, like you said, sports entertainment is the same with entertainment, period. So I always had a problem with cutting niggas off that I grew up with. I always felt like, had I done that, I'm fake now. I don't sold that. So I struggled with that shit. And like you say, going back to the hood made me feel like I was keeping it real. Even though I was putting myself in harm's way to be robbed, for the traps to be busted, to be, you know what I'm saying? And I learned a valuable lesson too, because, one time when the trap got hit, motherfucker didn't say, well, he didn't have nothing to do with it. So my point, they didn't. I went to jail behind it. So my point to you was that tough, having to cut off, partners that, sandbox, y'all grew up together. And when you finally did, how did it benefit you mentally and, your pockets?
Well, I think that, it's tough because, you got friends and you grew up with and all that type of stuff, just like you said, whatever. But it's hard to really just say, oh, man, I'm just cutting this person off. You done did some things with this person, like, don't nobody know. You know what I mean? And it's like, but at the same time, man, it's like, it's all a part of growing up. You know what I mean? You got to grow up. You know what I mean? Sometimes some people gonna get left behind. You know what I mean? And sometimes they had a chance and the same opportunities that you could have had. But they chose to do something different. Whatever. But at the same time, when it's what you know and it's who you know and it's the community that you're from or whatever, it's like, it's like, damn, this is what you're used to. You know what I mean? So it's real hard. But when you do learn it, and you do learn how to let go, you know what I mean, of some of those childish things or people or whatever, you just realize, man, it's like a weight off your back. And sometimes, man, you just got to forget about it. And at the same time, guess what? They'll get over it. You know what I mean? They'll get over it. And if they don't, who cares? You know what I mean? Because sometimes, it's one of them things too where, you try to give people chances too. You give people chances to better themselves by using your platform.
Correct.
You know what I mean? But you got some people that don't know how to do that. And they don't know how to use your platform. They just want to use you. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, how do you distinguish between the two? And that person that's trying to use you, you know, you just got to get rid of them versus somebody that's trying to better themselves and say, look, let me jump on your platform and do my thing. You know what I mean? Because eventually, I ain't gonna be playing football forever.
Yeah.
So maybe I can jump on your train when we done. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, but a lot of people don't think like that. But that's part of growing up. But when you do learn how to let go and let people go and just be real, you know what I mean? And because you know that's like a weight and it can hold you back from other things. You know what I mean that you're trying to go accomplish. And but that's like to a lot of these kids out here now. You know, it's like, man, you just don't know, man. Like. That friend that you got in high school, that ain't gonna be that might not be your friend 10 years from now.
Right.
Come on now.
Right.
So you sacrificing for them, you know what I mean, and dedicating yourself to them. And you need to realize you might not even be talking to this person in 5 years.
Exactly.
You know? So like I said, it was life learning just about everything, you know what I mean, that can happen and you know, stay out their way.
That rookie season, though, Jamal, I mean, you hit the field running like a grown-ass man, sir, okay? That was one thing about your style of running is that you didn't play around when you got that ball. What was that like that rookie year when you was in there with the professionals now, man?
It was crazy because I can remember that, you know, I didn't start until about the third or fourth game of the season, but I remember coming in the locker room, you know, and being the first pick, you know, whatever, you know, guys be looking at you like,
oh, you better bring something to the
Is he really worth that? You know what I mean? Like, you was our first pick. We expecting you to do something. And I just remember like just going through those practices earlier on and just, like I said, learning the speed, learning the tempo. And then I think I remember Ray one time was like, you know, what's up, youngster, you know, whatever. And he's like, what you got going on, you know? And I wasn't doing nothing. I was just chilling. I was going home, you know? And he was like, well, shoot, me and Shannon and, you know, a couple guys, we going out. You know, we go out, you know, every Thursday or something. And then next day, you know, I hooked up with them and started hanging out with them. And it just kind of changed your mentality and your thought process, too. You know, from a rookie to being with a 4-year player to a dude like Shannon that might have been in the league maybe 6-7 years by that time, maybe more than that. Yeah. But you get a chance to listen and hear, and it just really turned up, you know, my game. Yeah. To the point where, you know, I was just out there just playing and just going for what I know and just being me and being free. Yeah. And just, you know, just being comfortable, you know what I mean? And they welcomed me in. And I think with that and going on that run, the Super Bowl run, it really got sticky because it was just like, you know, especially being with Ray, like, you know, he's enthusiastic all the time. You know what I'm saying? So we just be out. And it's like, man, I don't see nobody beating us. I don't see nobody beating us. You know what I mean? Like, we gonna run through them. We gonna run through them. And I'm sitting there like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it was just, man, it was surreal, you know, just being 20, 21 years old and being in the NFL and on a Super Bowl run, too. And having a good year and all this type of stuff. And it was just like nothing could go wrong. You know what I mean? Nothing could go wrong. So, but, you know, I just couldn't wait to get back to the city. Yeah.
Damn!
What you spoke of Ray Lewis, which is one of my favorite, and Shannon Sharpe. We're gonna get to Shannon in a minute, but with Ray Lewis, one, I want you to tell the people, you know, what was it really like, you know, playing with Ray Lewis, and second of all, when Ray went through what he went through here in Atlanta, what were your thoughts when you first heard that, and having to deal with him? What was he, you know, what was he going to? How was he taking it, and did it affect all y'all?
So mind you now, that was the year that I got drafted. So I got drafted right after that because there was Super Bowl here. And then there was Super Bowl here, and then the draft that I was in was that April, you know, whatever it was. But now being drafted there and then going in there and you're like, dang, you know, he got a trial going on and all this stuff going on, whatever. it was just kind of, it was a different place because, of course, he wasn't there.
Yeah.
And he was handling his thing, but it really just showed you what type of organization it was, you know, because Art Modell, you know, he was like taking care of everything and just making sure that Ray was straight, and Ozzie Newsome and all those guys. So they were, you know, it just showed you from the start that they were supportive.
Yeah.
And you was in the right place, you know what I mean? But when he came back, you know, when Ray got back, it was like, you knew, it was like on. You know what I mean? Like, the bell cow is back. You know what I mean? And the leader of this team is back. And, you know, I remember him getting up, speaking to the team and just talking about, you know, Tampa. Like, we going to Tampa. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, what's in Tampa? the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl. Yeah, it's July. We talking about Super Bowl. So, you know, all right, then, let's go. But, you know, you just kind of knew, like, everybody rallied around him, you know, whatever. And then, like I said, the organization rallied around him. But then, you know, we had to travel.
Yeah.
Oh, man, we had to travel. That was the worst part because, you know, it was like, you know, crazy. You know what I mean? Like, we had major security and, like, death threats and all kinds of stuff. You know what I mean? Going into some of these away teams, you know, when you had to travel there, especially Ohio, where those guys were from.
Wow.
So it was just like lockdown, you know what I mean? And we used to all be together. You know, me, him, and Shannon or whatever, we would be together, you know, whatever. So it's either going to the room to go play some cards or gamble or something, or, you know, just hang out, go get something to eat or whatever. But it was more of, he couldn't go do nothing. Yeah. Really. So he had to lay low, you know, whatever. So we would just hang out with him. Yeah. And it was just one of them things where I think that really helped contribute to how we bonded, you know, as a team and was able to get to the Super Bowl that year. But everybody rallied around him. But, man, he just, you know, and then, you know, I just remember my visual of him, you know, at the Super Bowl, that Super Bowl. Yeah. You know, with a long white mink coat, you know what I'm saying, with a mink hat and all this type of stuff, you know, and you're like, man.
Looking like Frank Lucas out there.
Yeah. But then you show up, you know, to camp, and he comes in, and he just really low-key, you know, cool cat, whatever, you know, playing around with everybody or whatever. You're like, man, he's all right, you know, he ain't that, you know, whatever. But yeah, I think it was a good time, though. It was a bad time, but at the same time for our team and me coming as a rookie, too, just to see, you know, how they dealt with adversity and one of their own, you know, and what happened, which I learned later on that they did me the same way. You know what I'm saying? Wow. So it was like, you know, like, this is our guy. You know what I mean? And we got his back. So, you know, I was able to experience that front end and then experience too on the back end.
Come on now. Okay, Super Bowl though, man. What was some of your most memorable experiences from being at the Super Bowl? Was it everything that the little boy thought it was going to be when you got grown?
You know, it was work. You know, it was work because you're like, shoot, man, I don't want to go nowhere, do nothing. Yeah. Like, I'm trying to win. You know, we need to win because you do not want to leave here a loser. And so really it was just hanging out at the hotel. You know what I mean? You know, the Modells, they had all kind of gifts for us every day. You know, you came back to your room, you know, whatever. But it was just an experience, you know, getting on the bus with these dudes, going back and forth to practice and, you know, joking and joning and having a good time. You know, we was real relaxed. Yeah. But it was just one of them experiences. And Coach Billick was good too because he was just a player's coach. Yeah. He let us be men. Mm-hmm. You know, he treated you like a man. Yeah. You know, so it was one of them things too where he was very helpful and let us be us. You know what I mean? And he let the veterans kind of run the team. So you know it was fun. But in Tampa, you know, they just said stay out of Mars Venus. You know what I mean? That was the main thing, right? When you got there, stay out of the strip club. You know, stay out of the strip club. So, but you know, we was just focused, man. We was focused, and you know, I think after that though, it was like, you know, you can let your hair down.
Yeah. Which one was harder, Jamal? Was it that '98 Tennessee championship or that Baltimore Ravens championship? Which one did you take more? you know, more love. And when you look at both of them trophies, which one you say? I remember that one.
The
Ravens.
The Ravens.
The Ravens.
Because I didn't play in the national championship.
Oh, okay.
And I was hurt, so I didn't play in that one. So it was like, I didn't feel like mine. You know what I mean?
Y'all was squatted though now.
I played through the first 4 games. We beat Florida, so I got a chance to really beat Florida. But yeah, man, it was just one of them things where that was my Super Bowl. You know what I mean? But
gotcha.
But the Tennessee, it was cool. But you know, it was a good run too. And then T, of course, you know, being able to step in after Peyton left, and being able to go and win a Super Bowl, win a championship, that was like super. You know, and then we went 13-0. You know what I mean? So, you know, perfect season.
Come on.
Can't beat that. You know?
We were mad as hell at you in Georgia. I'm like, man, this nigga don't want to Tennessee.
Hey, man.
And we needed you.
Hey, that was Jim Dunning. That was Jim Dunning's fault, you know. They was going after somebody else.
I need to cuss Jim Dunn out again.
They were going after somebody else, man. I remember they couldn't get Jasper Saints. He didn't have the grades or something, so they knew he was going to go to military school beforehand. And then I remember Coach Dunn and them calling me like, hey, man, we need to come visit. We need to come see you. We need to come see you. You know, and they came to my house with a last-minute push. And I think my mama had just made like 6 sweet potato pies. So we sitting there talking to them, and, you know, they were like, well, you know, we just want you to come up for an unofficial visit. Unofficial. I'm like, nah, that sounds like a trap. You want me to just come up for an unofficial visit? No, I'm not doing that. So I was like, you know, I ain't just tell them that, but I was like, all right, well, let me think about it, you know, whatever. My mom was like, well, y'all about to hit the road? Well, why don't y'all take one of these sweet potato pies with you? Hey, look, mama gave me sweet potato pie, and that was the last time I saw her.
Come on now.
That was it, you know what I mean? So we sent them on home, but yeah.
2003 though, man. Over 2,000 yards rushing in this thing.
Yeah.
Damn near 300 in one damn game. Were you like Bruce Leroy out there with the glow that year? What was going through your mind? What was going over you every time you touched that ball, man?
Man, it was just really one of them things where it was, you know, you was just in that zone. You know what I mean? And you know, you don't watch. I've watched Jordan. You know, just be in the zone. You're like, man, I wonder what that felt like. You know what I mean? And then being able to go into that game, knowing that we weren't running the ball that much. Coach needed to run the ball, and we had a quarterback just went down, so we had to run the ball. So I knew he had no choice but to give me the football. So, you know, and then it was the Browns. So that was even better. And they weren't that good, you know, or whatever. And, man, it was just one of them things. Everything was perfect. Everything was perfect. It was like the blind was blocking right, the dude was blocking downfield right, and the temperature was just right, my speed was just right. Like I was on Madden, I done turned J. Lou all the way up. You know, I done turned it all the way up. So, but no, it was just one of them kind of things, man. And it was just the hard work. You know, honestly, it was like the off season. And just all the work in my offensive line and the offensive line coach and running back coach, like just trying to, you know, at the time, you know, dudes trying to pass the football all over the place. So, you know, as a running back in the offensive line, you like feel like, man, look, they don't like us. You know what I'm saying? So to have one of those days where they got to give it to you, and then all through that season they just had to. So it was like every week it was like, what we gonna do? Let's go, you know. And they was really putting emphasis on it. So, you know, running for 2,000, it was a great, you know, we trained for that though. You know what I'm saying? That was just one of them things where I just like, damn, like I spoke it into existence. You know, it was like I'm training for, like my trainer was like, hey, we just train for 2,000. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, we just talking shit in the gym. Like, man, I'm like, I wanted to break that record. I wanted to break the single game record. So I'm like, man, we got to get that record. It's 274. I know we can get it. And we just talk about, you know, well, shit, you get a early run, or you get this, you got to have a big run here. And doesn't we just talking through? He's like, fuck it, why don't you just get 2,000? Let's just go for 2,000.
Right.
So we just started training, and just really, man, that's where the work was put in at. And I was just one of them guys. My brother, he taught me straight up. He's still training. And he just, like outwork the next man. Work when they not working, and do something different than what everybody else is doing, and that'll just set you apart. And that's just was my mentality, and I think, it showed, on the field, because in the off season we really put in the work.
The confidence behind that, though, man. When you get the ball in your hand, you like, you know what? I'm gonna either run by you, past you, or through you.
Oh yeah.
What was that mentality?
Man, it was, it was a lot of respect. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's what you really want out there on the field. You know what I mean? You want respect. So, and we gained a lot of that, you know what I mean? And that's what you wanted to earn, and that's what you wanted to get from your the opposing team. Yeah. And, and getting it enough early, you can get that, you know, and those big runs start coming. Or whatever later on, after you wearing on somebody. You know what I mean? And attrition sets in, and the eyes start getting big. And, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, you see it, and I done been in them, and it's like, man. And so, man, it's just a mentality, man, that I took straight from Adamsville.
Who were the toughest players to run against, though, when you saw them on the other side of the ball, said, either you gonna get it or it's about to go down out here?
Warren Sapp, he was a load. And a lot of them big defensive line, especially like him, like he was low. Do not let him touch me. You know what I'm saying? But you had Palomalu, played against Pittsburgh twice a year.
Oh yeah.
Tequil Spikes, of course. Yeah. Like, he been hot since high school. You know what I mean? So you got to play against him, and they were in the division too. So. You had a lot of, that's why I think I was talking to somebody the other day. I was talking about, like, going to the Pro Bowl. Yeah. And I had one Pro Bowl appearance. But I'm like, every year I'm competing with, Eddie George, Bettis, I'm competing with a lot of cats.
Come on now.
That are getting it. You know what I'm saying? So it was always a fight, but it was competition, man, and it was a good era of football, I think.
Yeah.
Besides Jamal Lewis, let's take Jamal Lewis out of the equation. In no particular order, give me your 5 most favorite running backs of all time. No particular order, and take yourself out of it.
Walter Payton. Eric Dickerson. I got to put OJ in there. Barry Sanders.
Yeah.
And I'll just go with.
You got a lot of ones left. You got
a lot left. But
you got Beast Mode.
I think getting out of that was gonna be my last one. Just getting out of because I watched these dudes. These were the highlight films I watched. Every Thursday night. You know what I mean, before playing Friday. In high school. But I would say, bring it on forward. Marshawn would be in that. He's just a real one. You know what I mean? He ran the ball hard. He was smart. He could finish. You know what I mean? And he just was a real
Y'all
cat.
kind of remind. I said at the Beehive the other day. I said, you know what I'm saying? That's how you Atlanta's Beast Mode. You know what I'm saying? He was like,
original Beast Mode.
Original. Original.
I got Beast Mode shirts before that. You know what I mean? But hey, you can have that. He took it and ran with that one. Shoot. I bought my son the Beast Mode cleats. Just because they was beast mode.
Come on, man.
Yeah, but he's
Shannon Sharpe. Like I said, you played with him. One, I saw when Shannon cussed out Ray when they beat our ass in the Super Bowl when he was with Denver back in. I don't know if you remember that. And I thought to myself, I said, Shannon Sharpe got the gift of gab. I knew it back then.
Yeah.
Seeing him now with the podcast, what he has done, how he has pretty much taken over the game. When you see him, how do you feel? How do you feel about it? It's like you cheering on your brother, or you saying he could do better. I mean, is there?
I remember coming back to Atlanta after my freshman year, and I was at Doug, and I was about to do my little workout that they gave me, in my folder. And it was a cat over there, and Big Back, he played for the Falcons. He was like, man, what you doing?
Yeah.
I said, I'm about to work out. So he's like, Rat, you about to just work on the track, just run around? He said, look, go over, meet me over here tomorrow. He said, Shannon, Dent, all these cats, they working out at Grady Stadium.
Yeah.
So I pull up, you know what I mean? And I got 2 weeks off, you know what I mean, or whatever, for many terms they call it. So I was just gonna train. And I end up training with Shannon now. So then I hooked up, then I started training them every day. And then every year I came back, I would train them every day. So I've been knowing Shannon since my freshman year in college. So, and I say that because I've sat down at the end of a lot of workouts and just hear him do the same thing that he's doing right now. And then I end up going to the Ravens, and he's there. Guess what? In the locker room, on the back of the bus, where we going, it's the same thing. So he ain't doing nothing that he ain't doing on a daily basis.
Come on now.
He can have them same conversations he having on with Ocho and whatever. He can have them same at Jason's Daily. You know what I'm saying? Just serious. Like, that's just him. Yeah. And you can tell, like, when he's doing that, I'm like, man, he's doing what he's called to do. Yeah. And this is he's just being him. Yeah. Ain't nothing scripted, ain't nothing, you know what I mean? He's a professional, first of all. Yeah. But then, I can see him also, bettering his craft, in certain ways. Yeah. Like seeing him go in with an alcohol beverage, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I never would have thought I saw that, but at the same time, take advantage of it. Yeah. He's taking advantage of the platform and monetizing it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And he loves some money, so he don't monetize it. You know what I mean? So, but no, man, he's doing his thing, man. I'm happy to see him do his thing, man. He's
you got to tell him to turn this Instagram live off.
Just live, man. I was like, oh Lord. The big guy done got caught up. but man,
if I knew your number, then I would have called. He said, Jamal, get your boy.
Hey, look,
get your boy, man.
Hey, look, you gotta be tech savvy out here. especially with AI. You say the wrong thing.
Right. Goodness.
Coming off of that 2003 season, arguably one of the greatest football seasons ever for a running back, man. How did it impact you when you got into your situation with the feds or what was going on with that?
Oh man, that was really crazy because I ran for 2,000.
Yeah.
And then got done. Now, I'm thinking contract.
Oh.
Because LaDainian had just got, he had just got a new contract. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm about to get paid. Paid. So, honestly, man, it was just one of them things where I think, 2 weeks, we went to the Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
Went to the Pro Bowl. And then after the Pro Bowl, I remember I had a place down in Florida. Mm-hmm. I had a place in Florida. So I just went to Florida to stay. You know what I mean? I was gonna move down there for the summer, you know. Mm-hmm. And I can just remember getting a call, and it was like from Penny, which is Ed Garland's secretary at the time.
Yeah. And
I ain't never get no call from her.
Yeah.
But she was just like, Jamal, give me a call, whatever. So I knew, like, hey,
real.
You gotta call her.
Yeah.
So that's when I called, and Ed was like they about to indict you on the 4 o'clock news. I'm like, what? And I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Like, wow. But now, not saying that I didn't see that coming. Mm. You know what I mean? Like, because this was all stemmed from my rookie year. Mm. Yeah, this all stemmed from then. So this was lingering this whole time. You know what I'm saying? And that's when Ed said, "Hey," he said, "Don't call me, I'll call you."
But did you know about? Did you? What you said was lingering from your college years, right?
Yeah.
Did you know about it? That it was still there? That was still hanging over your head, or was it just a shock when he went?
Yeah, no, I knew it was kind of still there, but at the same time. So you want to know the rest of the story?
Yes, sir.
So basically, on the front side of it, when I was coming out of college, there was a girl that hit me up and said, "Hey, I want to, I got Michael Vick. He wants to come out of school early and he want to talk to you." So I was like, "Cool, all right." So I said I'll be back in Atlanta, whatever, a couple of days. So I hooked up with her. And basically, was talking about Michael Vick, whatever. So called Michael Vick mom or whatever, because she said she knew them. And basically, long story short, follow what I'm saying. The government sent her to me. The government sent her to me, basically because of my ties with Eric Bankhead and Michael White Boy King and all of them cats over there, right? Which they had just had a sting that they brought everybody down over there. You know what I'm saying? So they knew that I knew all of them, you know what I mean, or whatever. So they basically sent this girl to me to basically set me up, you know what I mean, to bring her back to my people. Right, so that's kind of how it worked. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So basically, I didn't go to nobody with nothing. The government sent her to me to set me up. Right. So that happened. Right, it happened. Yeah. And it was more of and it ended up being more of an entrapment because when she asked, I said no. Yeah. And then she asked again. So that's entrapment.
Exactly.
So basically, fast forward now to the point where my lawyer was like, look, because one of my partners had got, jammed up. Yeah. Who basically was part of this conspiracy. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So he was good. He ended up getting out, whatever. So we thinking that, okay, he's out, he's done, it's over with. So by the time it got to 2004 or 3, we coming up on statute of limitation. Yeah. Right? Ooh. On the whole thing. So that's why at the time, Mike Brown, who was the DA at the time here, he ended up coming in. It came from Miami, and I heard this even from his people, that basically he pulled my file and was like, I want everything on that. So basically, he ended up getting everything on that, and then that's when they indicted me and my co-defendant. So that was right before statute of limitation.
Oh my God!
And I knew because, like I said, my lawyer was like, "Don't call me, I'll call you if anything happens." Yeah. And nothing happened over this little span of time, of three years plus, until I went for 2,000 yards. Right. I went for 2,000 yards. They bring that up, and then through that whole season, the only thing, when I found out anything, it was Sunday night football, Monday night football. Like it was a national game. Yeah. Like I would come on the sideline. Oh, we hear you got your court date. I'm like, damn. Like, but it was more of a spectacle of the government. You know what I mean? And I sat right there, and Mike Brown basically said, "Hey, look, we know you have nothing to do with this, but we got to save face of the government." And that when I really realized you is still a nigga. Woo! Right? So basically, this is what it is. You know what I mean? And it was just really one of them things where it was like, like we talked about earlier, going back to the hood, hanging around your people, hanging around your folks. I wasn't doing nothing wrong. Yeah. But I'm guilty by association, which led them to basically want to set me up for, the gains of Stephanie Gabby Smith and Mike Brown. You know what I mean? Which were in lead at that time. And after I finished my last day of community service, Mike Brown turned into be a defense attorney. So it's like, it was all gain, you know what I mean, for him and the government. But at the same time, I never went to nobody. I never brought drugs to nobody. I never bought. And then if you look right now, there was no drugs, no money, nothing ever exchanged or even brought to the table. So really, it was just the government, just sent somebody. And this girl, she was like, she was honestly like, she was an informant, really.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? She was an informant. She was working for them. And when I did go to court, the first thing the judge said was, thanks to me for owning up to what I did. You know what I mean? But at the same time, said that this probably would have been dismissed because the government had an uncredible witness. So,
what did that do to your career coming off of all of that success, man? I mean, how did that impact you? And mentally, man, how are we mentally processing all of this stuff at that time?
It crushed it at the time because it was like, your contract. That's kind of, what I mean, I was meeting with like Sports Authority, meeting with, potato chip companies, meeting with, I was starting
Campbell
my circuit.
Soup.
I was starting my circuit, and then all of a sudden, it was like this happened. And then none of them calls. And then, but the one thing, like I said about the Ravens, they was just like, look, we know who you are.
Yeah.
We know your character. So therefore, when you get this done, you're good here.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're going to be good, but you're going to be good for a cheaper price. But that, hey, look, but I can't, look, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
So honestly, man, I think I ended up, just because I was kind of, messed up about not being able to get that contract, or they were kind of iffy. Yeah. So therefore my mental, and then I ended up hurting my ankle and getting hurt, whatever. So that lingered on for a while. And then just being disgruntled, you know what I mean, the whole time, because I'm like, but at the same time, man, it was one of them things where, I went through that. There was a reason for me going through that, and it humbled me a lot. But at the same time, it's just, stay out their way, and the fact that, hey, look, things happen for a reason, and maybe somebody else, you know what I mean, can learn from it, you know what I mean?
With that being said, though, Jamal, when I think about your story, you can't help where you grew up.
Right.
Okay, you can't change your sandbox buddies.
Right.
These is the folks that you got it out the mud with. It just is what it is.
That's it.
So what advice do you have for other people that come from those humble beginnings, that's their core audience and fan base and friends?
Well, it's
how do you extract yourself from that?
It's just one of them things where I think you just gotta be smarter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Gotta be smarter. And have positive people around you, though.
Yeah.
So I think, that's the first thing you need to do is have some positive people around you.
Yeah.
Even when you got your people, you know what I mean? You need to put some checks and balances around you.
Yeah.
And family, you know what I'm saying? Keep your family close as well, because sometimes you can veer away from family because your friends are the ones that you is around all the time. So, but family is gonna be there regardless. You know what I mean? And just kind of be smart, man. Just be smart, whatever. But some things you like I said, control what you can control.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's, even though the government played their part in what happened, I played my part too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I could have used some better judgment and some better decision making myself.
Yeah.
But I was 20 years old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the thing, just kind of like, I didn't have nothing to gain from this or whatever. But at the same time, I would have never even been having this conversation if the government wouldn't have sent this girl to me.
Yeah.
And at the same time, man, you know, a lot of these dudes, you know, you got, you know, I don't know how it is now, but, you know, you get kingpins around the hood that was taking care of you. You know what I'm saying? And that's one of the things, you know, you just got to stay away from.
Yeah.
Because sometimes that's the setup. You know what I mean? Ain't nobody giving you nothing. You know what I'm saying? So you just got to be smart about that too.
Yeah.
And know and sacrifice some of them. Them things that you might want at the time for what's greater, you know what I mean? Because shit, it caught up with me 5 years later. Like shit, you like, dang. You know, 4 or 5 years later, you know, after, you know, now this comes up and I get indicted on it, you know what I mean? So, you know, some of the things in your past, you know, it can haunt your future. But like at the same time, you know, just be smarter, you know, just be smart.
When you saw Vic going through his situation, what was going through your mind then?
Just about to say.
Yeah.
Man, I just, you know, you look at the picture that's being painted, and I've been on that side of the picture being painted. Yeah. You know, as like I was a drug dealer, but I ain't never touched no drug. You know what I mean? Like I was putting together a deal, and ain't no deal ever happened. Yeah. And this and other, but it's things that people don't know. Yeah. But it ain't for them to know. Yeah. But at the same time, looking at his situation from the outside, you're like, dang, you know what I mean? Like, how much of this is put together? You know what I mean? How much of this is on the Falcons? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you know, they been known about dogs. Yeah. The Falcons been knew about that. But when he started, you know, playing or shooting birds in stands, stuff like that, then all of a sudden now we got a problem. You know what I mean? So it's kind of one of them things, man, like take note, you know what I mean? They'll hold on to it. Yeah. You know, they'll hold on to it, stash it until the time is right for them. You know what I mean? So you just gotta be smart, man, and just and get some good counsel and advice, you know. But I just felt for him with that, man. But man, look at him now. Look at him now. You know, he done came through it. You know what I mean? Exactly. And he's humble and just a great guy. You know.
But thank God that you with me to sit here listening to you. If I was a football player, I would want to play for the owners of Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Send me to Baltimore.
Exactly. Yeah. From your situation, from Ray's situation, then them staying down. I don't even know the in-house other little smaller situations. But it seemed like to me the Falcons jumped off Vic quick.
Oh yeah.
You know, and that might have been the difference because you know, remember when he got out, he went to Philly. Yeah. But you know, that might have been the difference in shit. I saw I'm gonna win the Super Bowl. I did not want them to. I was mad as hell at Arthur. Damn, why can't be that? Yeah. But speak to me about, you know what I'm saying, about the Baltimore Ravens ownership. You know what I'm saying? Show a little love to them
So Baltimore, so basically, I got to Baltimore 99, 2000, which they had been bought with 96. Steve Bisciotti basically owned a minority share of the team or whatever at the time, and then Art Modell, you know, I think he bought the team for like $600 million, and I think he gave Art them like $300, you know, to bring the team and brought the team over. And he didn't take over. He didn't take over until like 6 years later. So basically, I was really like one of his first picks as far as Bisciotti, which Art Modell's still there though. But Art Modell's still running everything. But Art, the organization as a whole is just like Art was that guy that got off his cart and went around to every player and told them that he was glad to have you. Yeah. And he knew your name. You know what I'm saying? Like that was a rookie. I'm like, damn, he getting off his cart, you know, walking slow, and he gonna, you know, glad to have you. You know, whatever. But that let me know something then. And then Ozzie Newsome, you know, he was bringing in all the players. Yeah. But later on, you realize, you know, with Steve Bisciotti, you know, I can remember having a fumble, I think, in a Miami game, and I was getting on the bus, and it wasn't my fumble, it was a quarterback fumble. We found out that day. But we got on the bus, and Steve Bisciotti was getting on the bus. And everybody like, what he doing on the bus? You know what I'm saying? He damn sure don't ride this bus.
Yeah.
And he just walking to the back.
Yeah.
Where we was sitting. And he came back there to the back and he said, hey, he said, you my first pick.
Yeah.
And he said, hey, I got you back. Don't worry about that. You know what I mean? And like, that was big, you know?
Yeah.
But as it went on, you know, like even today, I can call the same girl that's working secretary desk.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I can call her, you know, or whatever, or even the person that working in the lunchroom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They cook the eggs and stuff. Like that person, man, he's still there.
Yeah.
You know, you just know what type of organization you got because it's people that's still there that's been there for 25 years. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of know what type of organization it is by that, but Steve Bisciotti, first class.
Yeah.
You know, first class guy, humble, not the owner, like the guy that's like, you know, beating you down or talk. He ain't talking to you about no football. He ain't talking to you about none of that.
Yeah.
You know, and he's cool. You know, he's like one of those guys. So that organization, man, is I figured out when I left there and I went to Cleveland, I figured out what a trash organization is and what a good organization is. So, you know, what good ownership looked like and what bad ownership looked like.
Are you the same person if you had gotten drafted by a Falcons or a Cleveland?
No.
Are you the same running back sitting here today?
No, I doubt it. No.
Wow.
I doubt it just because it was just, you know, I think it was just one of them things where, like, in Baltimore, we was more like a family. It was business, but it was a family, you know what I'm saying? And they ran things by process, you know what I mean? And they were good, and it's good people, you know what I mean, all the way around the building. I think, and that's why they draft like they do, hire like they do. And is in the community, you know, just the way they are, you know. It's just one of them things. It's like the Pittsburgh Steelers, you know, you know what you're going to get. The defenses and the offenses ain't going to change. Well, you know, got Lamar, so you got to change. Yeah. But at the same time, it's going to be play good defense, run the ball, and this is what we're going to do. You know what I mean? This is how we win, and this is how what we're going to stick to. And we're not changing up for the fans. Right. You know, we're not going, if the fans booing and doing all that, we not doing it. I remember Bisciotti. I remember my last year there, and we thought Billett was gonna get fired, and we was hoping that he got fired. But at the same time, he knew we hoped that he got fired. But I remember Bisciotti coming in there, and the meeting. Yeah, we had a team meeting. Yeah, everybody. No, the whole organization was in the meeting, and he was just like, "Hey," he said, "the simplest thing for me to do would be to fire Coach Billett. But I'm not gonna do it." I said, "Oh Lord, I done said so much bad about this man. He gonna have it out for me." Right? But anyway, but he said, "I'm not gonna do it." Yeah. He said, "We gonna work through it, you know, whatever." And I was like, "Damn!" Like, as an owner, you know what I mean? He's because everybody, I mean, the fans, everybody, like, you know, but. He stuck with him, you know what I'm saying? He stuck with him, and that's just, you know, that's just the type of guy, you know, Bisciotti is, and it just rolls down from his leadership. Yeah. You know.
Going over there to Cleveland and then retiring, man, what was that stint in Cleveland like?
Oh, that was my retirement home. Yeah. It was just like bad.
What was bad about
it? But the first year, we actually won, you know, and but quarterback, our first quarterback, Charlie Fry, I think he got hurt or benched. So Derek Anderson jumped in there, and he was good. Yeah. And he was slinging it. But then we had Braylon Edwards, you had Kellen Winslow. I was 28 years old, and these dudes was like 21, 22. Yeah. So I'm like really old. That's old. And man, it was just like when you got young guys and no leadership, you know, from the ownership standpoint and all of that, it just turns bad real quick. Yeah. And, you know, we had a good season that year, but then coming back, we couldn't build on that because you had a bunch of young guys. They don't know how to work. They didn't know how to, you know, come together and mature and work on your weaknesses so you can get better. And just another, it was just like all out for self. Yeah. And that's what happened, you know, when you just got a young team and no leadership. And that's what it was. I feel in Cleveland it was just, you know, we had Romeo Cannell, who seems like he was more of a a veteran coach, you know, and these young guys were just trying to run over him, you know, or whatever. And I'm like, I'm just coming from Baltimore, where I was a young guy. You know what I mean? I'm, you know, Ray and them, they did all the rallying and doing all that. I wasn't doing that. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't the guy like rallying the troops and hey, this is what we need to be doing. And you know, I was like one of the players. Like, shoot, you know, I'm taking my leadership from Ray and those guys. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it was just different. It was just different, but you just kind of knew, you like, damn, like other organizations, they operate different. Yeah. You know, they fly different, they eat different, their processes are different. It's like a business, you know, or whatever. But you really realize that. But ownership is everything, man. And if you got bad ownership, you know, with anything, right? It's it just tumbles.
Come on.
Off subject, what did you think when you saw Saquon jump backwards over a motherfucker?
Man,
I had to ask you.
Listen, now, you know, like as a running back, you know what I mean, you got a bag of tricks.
Yeah.
You got a bag of tricks. You got a tool bag of tricks. And I told somebody, man, I was like, that ain't never happened. I never had that one in my bag. Like, I would not even have thought about that. Like, I'm going spin and jump backwards.
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm not. No. That got so many ways to go wrong. But he showed last night, right?
Yeah.
Like New York, boy, they in shambles. New York probably gonna fire everybody, and he gonna get everybody fired at the Giants organization. For letting them go.
Yeah.
Like, that was just dumb. But he's a dog, man, and he just shows it. Coming off injury, you know, that set him back, slowed him down. But like he shows kind of like what the running back position really is about, how you're supposed to run the ball. Yeah. But at the same time, Philly, man, they're riding him, they're using him. You know, they got a good quarterback too, but you know, Hurts. You know, sometimes these folks need a break. Yeah. You know what I mean? Especially when they've been winning for you for so long.
Yeah.
Like, it's good to get somebody like Saquon to come in there and kind of take that pressure off, you know?
Exactly.
And that's what he's doing. And I know Saquon, he ain't arguing about getting no carries.
Exactly.
Look, give them to me. Give them as many as you can. You
Come
know?
on.
But he gonna ride them through, man. Like November, December, that's when the running game really affected, especially in Philly.
Exactly.
But no, it's exciting to see him play, man. But the jump, the back, no, that's something that's different.
I wish you were playing now so we could see you do the headstand when you score. You know everybody.
Man, I ain't doing none of that, man. I'm trying to get some oxygen. And get me some electrolytes.
Come on, man.
So we can do it again. Now.
They crazy. They crazy. I don't know. It's entertainment now, man. It's entertainment league now.
Come on, man. Come on.
That's right. Yeah. This one last thing I want to ask him, because I'm Beehive, I tell you, I'm a huge fan of sports shows in the morning. And I don't know if you saw the episode where Shannon and Skip Bayless disrespected. In my eyes, he disrespected Shannon about the Tom Brady stuff, almost insinuating, nigga, you ain't shit. You know, that's how I took it as. If you did see that, when you first saw that, what was your thoughts on that? Me and Beehive had a whole big debate about it. And at the time, I told Beehive had a racial undertone to it. Beehive cussed me out, of course. You know what I'm saying? But came to find out it kind of was. When you first saw that exchange, did you think they could make it through that? And what was your just thoughts when Skip came off on him like that? You know,
I did see, I think, some blurbs of it or whatever, but I think that when I look at that, it's more of jealousy more than anything else. It's jealousy. You know, Skip is Skip, and he's done what he's done, and he's good at what he do, right? You know, but at the same time, you know, Shannon is great at what he did. Playing, you know, and winning and being a tight end, changing the game for that position. Now jumping into this game and really taking it to another level, which if him and Skip didn't have them arguments, you know, would you have Shay and would you have all that? Which it was just a stepping stone. But I think that, you just got to know what you're dealing with. You know what I mean? I think that's more jealousy. Yeah. And you run into a lot of that. You know what I mean? You run into a lot of that just with somebody that probably wanted to play the game but couldn't, or wasn't able to get to that level, or whatever. And it's kind of like, I'm great at what I'm doing, and I'm better than you at this, so this is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Double, triple whammy.
Right. So it's like, it's one of them things. But I just saw this jealousy, man. And it just needed to happen, right?
Yeah.
Because look at where Shannon is now.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I just want to get man, we finna keep on going. You want to talk about the about your little soldier? You gonna send him to Georgia?
Oh,
we gonna bring.
Hey, he going wherever they
the question I wanted to ask you.
Oh yeah.
On the Georgia Tennessee situation, because we almost was close to playing with each other too. If I would have came back a year earlier, shoot, I would have won the goddamn Jamal.
Listen, if Georgia would have showed me an ounce,
I know,
just an ounce of interest,
yeah,
I would have been there.
God damn it, Georgia.